Stop right there, my beloved. Do not ignore this warning. You did not find this message by accident, and you are not hearing these words because of chance. I am speaking to you, and what I am about to reveal is too weighty, too personal, and too urgent for you to treat like just another passing moment. Stay with me to the very end, because what seems small right now could be the very thing stealing your peace, delaying your breakthrough, and quietly pulling you away from the life I have prepared for you. Do not rush this. Do not scroll past this. Listen closely, lean in, and let every word settle deep into your spirit. If you stay, you will recognize what has been hidden in plain sight, and once you see it, you will never be able to overlook it again. My beloved child, I need you to slow down and hear me with the kind of attention you usually reserve for the things that feel urgent, because this moment is more important than you realize. You may have thought you were simply moving through your day, maybe distracted, maybe tired, maybe carrying the same thoughts that have followed you for weeks. But I tell you now with deep love and with the seriousness of a father who sees what you cannot see, this is not a random interruption. You did not simply come across these words by chance. You did not just happen to pause here because of curiosity. I have allowed this moment to reach you because something in your life has been quietly asking for your attention, and you have been trying not to look at it too closely. You have sensed it. You have felt it in the moments when everything around you went silent, and yet your heart still felt unsettled. You have noticed that some things no longer sit right in your spirit the way they once did. You have called it stress. You have called it fatigue. You have called it confusion. But underneath all of that, there has been a warning moving through your inner life, and it has not come from fear. It has come from me. I have been trying to show you that there are things around you, and even things within you, that cannot be ignored much longer. There are habits you have excused because they felt manageable. There are emotional attachments you have defended because they comforted you in lonely moments. There are patterns of thought you have allowed to linger because they became familiar, even though they slowly pulled your peace apart from the inside. You have been functioning, yes, but not fully free. You have kept moving, but not with the clarity I want for you. And because I love you, I will not sit back and watch you normalize what is quietly harming your soul. I am not coming to you with condemnation. I am not here to shame you for what you missed. I am speaking now because you matter too much to me for silence. There are times when I whisper gently, and there are times when I step in more directly because the path ahead carries consequences you do not yet understand. This is one of those moments. You have been warned before in subtle ways. You have felt discomfort after certain choices. You have lost peace after certain conversations. You have sensed heaviness after giving access to people who leave you more drained than strengthened. You have noticed that some environments make your spirit feel dim, but you stayed because part of you did not want to admit that something needed to change. I understand that. I know how easy it is to keep walking when stopping means you have to face what has been building in silence. But I need you to know that looking away does not make danger disappear. Ignoring a wound does not make it heal. Pretending something is small does not stop it from growing roots. This is why I am interrupting you now. I am not trying to make you afraid. I am trying to bring you back into alignment before what is currently manageable becomes heavier, harder, and more painful than it needs to be. You are not being punished by this warning. You are being protected by it. I am asking you to see that clearly. The fact that I am speaking to you now means I am still reaching for you, still guiding you, still guarding your future, still standing between you and things that could have pulled you farther than you intended to go. And I want you to receive that not as pressure, but as love. A deep, personal, attentive love. The kind of love that notices when your smile hides exhaustion. A kind of love that sees when your spirit is carrying more than your words admit. A kind of love that refuses to let you drift so far into numbness that you start calling bondage normal. I know where you are. I know what you have been tolerating. I know what you have been telling yourself to make it easier to delay change. And still, I am here, speaking to you gently but clearly, because I would rather interrupt you now than watch you suffer later. That is what this warning is, my child. It is not rejection. It is not distance. It is not me turning my face from you. It is me stepping closer. It is me saying, I see what is happening, and I love you too much to let you keep overlooking it. And because I am speaking to you as your father, I want you to understand something deeper than the surface of this message. What makes this warning so important is not only the fact that something around you is wrong, but that something in you has already known it for a while. That is why this moment feels heavier than ordinary words. That is why part of you felt a pull even before you fully understood why. You have been trying to move forward while carrying unresolved things that have slowly shaped your inner world. Some of them began small. A little compromise here. A little avoidance there. A little emotional dependence. A little hidden resentment. A little spiritual distance. A little numbness when you should have felt conviction. None of it looked dramatic in the beginning, and that is exactly why it became easier to overlook. But I need you to hear me with honesty now. The things that slowly erode your peace are often the very things you first dismissed as harmless. You have been waiting for something dramatic to happen before you took your discomfort seriously. But I do not always wait until a collapse to warn you. Sometimes I come early, while there is still time to turn gently instead of painfully. Sometimes I speak before the door slams shut, before the relationship wounds you deeper, before the habit hardens, before the distraction becomes identity, before the compromise reaches your calling. That is what mercy looks like, even when it feels uncomfortable. I know you have been tired. I know you have wanted relief more than confrontation. I know there have been moments where you just wanted peace quickly, and so you chose what was familiar instead of what was right. You chose what numbed the ache instead of what healed it. You stayed connected to what felt emotionally available, even when it was spiritually costly. You postponed the conversation. You delayed the boundary. You excused the pattern. You told yourself you would deal with it later when you felt stronger, clearer, less overwhelmed. But my child, later is often where unnecessary pain grows. I am not saying that to make you feel guilty. I am saying it because I want to spare you from continuing in something that has already taken more from you than you realize. You have noticed how some things leave you empty after they pass. You have noticed how your joy has felt thinner in certain seasons. You have noticed how hard it has been to hear me clearly when your mind is crowded and your spirit is overexposed to voices that do not carry my peace. That is not your imagination. That is not weakness. That is the result of carrying what was never meant to remain. And now I am bringing you into a moment of decision. Not a moment of panic. Not a moment of self-condemnation. A moment of truth. I want you to sit with me and stop treating your inner warnings like background noise. I want you to stop assuming that just because something has not exploded yet, it must be safe. I want you to stop calling certain burdens normal simply because you have carried them for a long time. You do not need to collapse before you respond. You do not need to lose everything before you listen. You do not need a louder sign if I have already been faithful enough to show you what is disturbing your peace. And I know this may stir resistance in you, because truth often touches the places you have tried hardest to protect. But I am not coming for those places to expose you and walk away. I am coming for those places to heal them. I am coming for the hidden corners where you have learned to survive without wholeness. I am coming for the spaces where you adapted to pain and called it maturity. I am coming for the patterns that made sense in your hurt but no longer fit the life I am leading you into. You are not too late to respond. You are not too Virgo. You are not disqualified because you overlooked the warning before. If you are hearing me now, then grace is still present. If you are feeling this conviction now, then mercy is still moving. If you are still able to recognize that something needs to change, then I am still opening the door for you to turn before deeper damage is done. That is why I brought you here. That is why I'm speaking this clearly. And that is why I want you to understand, with no confusion at all, that this warning is not the end of something beautiful. It is the beginning of your rescue. It is the beginning of your return to clarity, to discernment, to peace, and to the kind of inner steadiness that only comes when you stop overlooking what I have already shown you. My beloved child, I want you to stay with me here and look honestly at what has already been happening inside you, because this warning did not begin today. It did not start with these words. It did not suddenly appear because of one moment on one screen. You have been feeling it for a while now, even if you kept pushing it to the side and calling it something else. You have felt that strange weight in your chest after certain conversations, the quiet discomfort after certain choices, that lingering unrest when you tried to convince yourself everything was fine. You have sensed the difference between what brings you peace and what only keeps you occupied. You have noticed that some people leave your spirit unsettled long after they are gone. You have recognized that some habits seem harmless while they are happening, but afterward you feel hollow, distracted, and farther from the version of yourself that knows how to hear me clearly. Do not brush that off anymore. Do not keep calling it coincidence. Sit with me now and admit it. Your spirit has been speaking, and I have been the one stirring it. I have been nudging you in the gentle places first because I wanted you to notice before the consequences became louder than my whisper. I know how you are. I know you do not always respond to the subtle signs right away, especially when your heart is tired and your mind is crowded. I know you can keep moving even when something inside you is aching. I know you can smile through inner conflict and tell yourself you will deal with it later. But later has a way of becoming heavier, and what you postpone in private often gains strength in silence. That is why I am asking you now, not as a distant judge, but as a father who has watched every hidden moment, to stop and trace the pattern. Go back in your mind for a moment. Think about the times your peace disappeared without a visible reason. Think about the moments when your joy suddenly felt thin after you said yes to something you already had doubts about. Think about the times you felt emotionally entangled, spiritually foggy, or strangely exhausted after letting certain voices too close to your heart. That was not random. That was not weakness. That was not you being too sensitive. That was discernment trying to survive under pressure. That was your spirit reacting to what your mind kept trying to excuse. I want you to understand this deeply, because it matters for where I am taking you. You do not lose peace by accident. Sometimes you lose it because you are standing too close to something that does not belong in your next season. Sometimes you lose it because you are entertaining what should have been confronted. Sometimes you lose it because you are still trying to carry what I have already told you to put down. I say this with tenderness, but I need you to receive it without defense. You have been warned in whispers before I ever had to speak like this. I have tried to catch your attention through small interruptions, through unease that would not go away, through moments where your heart felt checked even when everything looked acceptable on the surface. I have let certain things stop working the way they used to because I wanted you to notice that I was closing your appetite for what could not continue. I have let your comfort with certain patterns begin to break down because I love you too much to let you settle into what will slowly weaken your spirit. That discomfort you felt was not abandonment. It was me protecting your future. That restlessness was not punishment. It was mercy tapping on the door of your awareness. That inability to enjoy certain things the way you once did was not random emotional instability. It was me pulling your heart away from places that no longer match who you are becoming. So listen carefully now. Stop trying to force peace where I have removed it. Stop trying to resurrect what I am asking you to release. Stop calling it confusion when deep down you know it is conviction. Take your hand off what keeps wounding you. Step back from what keeps draining you. Pay attention to the pattern instead of defending the attachment. You do not need more evidence than the fruit it has produced in you. If something keeps stealing your clarity, if something keeps making prayer feel distant, if something keeps increasing your inner chaos, do not stand there and beg it to become healthy. Let it reveal itself. Let the truth be enough. Let what you have already felt matter. And come closer to me, because I am not exposing these things to leave you empty. I am revealing them because I am making room for your healing. I am showing you what has been wrong because I am serious about restoring what has been weak. I am calling you to honesty because honesty is where peace begins to return. Do not run from this moment. Lean into it. Ask me plainly, what have you already been warning me about? Then listen without rushing. Let your spirit answer. Let your memories answer. Let the places where peace disappeared answer. I have already been speaking. Now I want you to stop arguing with what you already know. And my child, because I know how your heart works, I also know there is a part of you that wants to say, but if I really admit what I've been feeling, then I may have to change something I'm not ready to lose. That is the deeper reason many warnings get ignored. It is not because you are blind. It is because truth can be expensive. Truth may ask you to release a relationship that still feels emotionally important. Truth may ask you to walk away from a pattern that has been your comfort when you felt lonely. Truth may ask you to stop revisiting thoughts that have become familiar even though they darken your spirit. Truth may ask you to set a boundary where you have been overextending, or to stop returning to places that keep undoing your peace. I know that can feel difficult. I know your emotions can make dangerous things feel dear. I know that what hurts you is not always what you hate. Sometimes what harms you is what you have grown attached to because it once made you feel seen, wanted, understood, distracted, or temporarily safe. But I need you to hear me clearly now. Comfort is not the same as safety, and familiarity is not the same as peace. There are things you have held close simply because they were available in seasons when you were vulnerable, and now they have become part of your routine, part of your emotional landscape, part of the way you cope. But if you are honest, you already know they are not helping you become stronger. They are keeping you emotionally busy while your spirit grows tired. They are keeping you connected while your inner life becomes more fragmented. They are giving you moments of relief while slowly taking away your steadiness. I do not want you to keep paying that price. This is why I need you to stop romanticizing what I have already disrupted. Stop trying to make permanent what I have already made uncomfortable. Stop chasing the old feeling of something that no longer carries my peace. Look at what it has produced. Has it made you clearer? Has it made you stronger? Has it made you softer toward me? Has it increased your peace, your discernment, your self-control, your spiritual confidence? Or has it made you anxious, conflicted, needy, numb, confused, reactive, distracted, spiritually dry? Be honest. Let the fruit speak. I know you want to believe certain things can stay if you manage them carefully enough, but some things are not meant to be managed. Some things are meant to be released. Some doors are not meant to be adjusted. They are meant to be closed. Some ties are not meant to be redefined. They are meant to be cut cleanly. This is where I need you to trust me more than your temporary emotions. This is where I need you to stop waiting for a louder collapse before you take your inner warning seriously. You do not need your whole world to fall apart to know that something is misaligned. You do not need a dramatic ending to validate the quiet discomfort I have already allowed you to feel. Respond while the warning is still gentle. Respond while the lesson can still be learned with wisdom instead of pain. Respond while grace is still inviting you to choose differently before consequences force your hand. And hear me on this, because I want it settled in your spirit. I am not disappointed in you because you took time to understand. I am not pulling away because you hesitated. I am not angry because you needed this spoken clearly. I am here because I love you. I am here because I still want to guide you. I am here because even now, after all the moments you ignored the early signs, I am still making room for you to turn without shame. So do not waste this clarity. Take it seriously. Take a breath. Write it down if you must. Name what has been stealing your peace. Name what keeps returning with the same heaviness. Name what you keep excusing even though your spirit always pays for it afterward. Bring it into the light with me. Tell the truth. And make a decision. Do not just feel convicted and walk away unchanged. Choose. Step back. Autovaxis wapsis have bupaste. And what needs to end? Put distance where distance is wisdom. Return to me where you have been emotionally scattered. And watch what begins to shift when you stop ignoring the warning you have already been feeling for longer than you wanted to admit. This is not me taking something precious from you. This is me rescuing something precious in you. Let that settle in your heart, and do not overlook it again. My child, you have just recognized the warning I placed within you, and now I call you not only to hear, but to partner with me. What I am awakening in you is not meant to stay with you alone. It is a flame meant to light other souls who are still sitting in confusion, still ignoring the same whisper you almost overlooked. When you give, you are not losing. You are sowing seed into a harvest of restored lives. And I have said, what you sow, you shall also reap. And my word does not return empty. This message you are hearing is oil being poured, and your support becomes the vessel that carries that oil to the thirsty. If your spirit is saying, I don't want others to miss this warning, that is me inviting you to act. Do not treat this as a small moment. This is a divine alignment between your obedience and someone else's rescue. As you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, I will multiply back into your life clarity, provision, and peace. Now respond, sow the seed, strengthen this mission, and move with me in this hour. My beloved child, I want to take you into a deeper place of honesty now, because one of the quietest dangers in your life hath been the habit of minimizing what is already affecting you. You have been telling yourself that certain things are too small to matter. You have called them little habits, little compromises, little indulgences, little reactions, little moments of emotional weakness, little thoughts you revisit when you feel alone, little ways of coping that you promise yourself are temporary. But I need you to hear me with the tenderness and firmness of a father who is trying to protect what is sacred in you. The things you keep calling small are not small when they are shaping your spirit. A tiny crack in a foundation does not look urgent until the whole structure starts shifting. A spark does not look dangerous until the room is already burning. A seed buried in silence does not look powerful until it has roots strong enough to be difficult to pull out. That is how many spiritual problems begin. They do not arrive with loud announcements. They arrive quietly, politely, almost invisibly. They come dressed as something manageable. They come wrapped in language that makes them easier to excuse. They slip into your life through tiredness, loneliness, grief, boredom, curiosity, emotional hunger, disappointment, or stress. And because they do not look dramatic in the beginning, you tell yourself they are not worth confronting yet. You assume you can carry them for a while. You assume you can stop whenever you want. You assume they are not doing much damage because nothing obvious has fallen apart. But what you do not always see is how the hidden things work on your inner life over time. A small compromise repeated often becomes a pattern. A pattern repeated long enough becomes a stronghold. A stronghold left unchallenged starts influencing the way you think, feel, choose, react, and even pray. That is why I am speaking so clearly now. I do not want you waiting until what once looked tiny has become the thing you are begging me to help you escape. I want you to deal with it while it is still small enough to name plainly, while it is still soft enough to uproot, while it is still in the stage where obedience costs less than recovery. You have been underestimating the power of what you allow to remain. You have let certain thoughts stay because they felt private. You have let certain emotional attachments linger because they did not seem openly destructive. You have let certain habits continue because they helped you get through difficult moments. You have let certain resentments stay tucked away because you convinced yourself they were understandable. And yes, some of those things may feel understandable. Some of them may even make sense if I look only at your pain. But I do not only see your pain. I also see your future. I see what these things become if they are not confronted. I see how a little bitterness can color your whole outlook. I see how a little compromise can dull your discernment. I see how a little secrecy can fracture your peace. I see how a little indulgence can become the place you run when life feels heavy. I see how a little emotional dependency can begin to control your decisions. I see how a little distance from prayer can slowly make your inner life feel empty and unfamiliar. So I am asking you now, very plainly, stop using the word small to protect what is already costly. Stop telling yourself that just because something is hidden, it is harmless. Stop assuming that what has not embarrassed you publicly has not affected you deeply. Some of the most serious battles in your life have never been visible to anyone else. Some of the things that weakened you most were never loud enough for others to notice. But I noticed. I have seen every subtle shift in your spirit. I have seen when your peace became thinner. I have seen when your patience shortened. I have seen when your joy felt harder to access. I have seen when your thoughts became more crowded, your discernment more blurred, your reactions more fragile, your hunger for me more inconsistent. Those shifts matter. They are not random. They are often the evidence of something small being allowed too much room. That is why I am asking you to be brave now. Do not wait for the dramatic consequence. Do not wait until the damage becomes visible. Face the little thing while it is still little. Call it what it is. Bring it to me. Cut it off if it needs cutting off. Put it down if it needs putting down. Refuse access if access had been the problem. Let your obedience begin at the level where the issue first entered, not only at the level where it became painful enough to force your attention. That is wisdom. That is maturity. That is how freedom begins. And I want you to understand something else, my child, because this is where many of you get trapped without realizing it. What you call small often stays in your life because it serves an emotional purpose. You are not always holding on to certain things because you love the thing itself. Sometimes you are holding on to it because of what it gives you in a moment when you feel empty, restless, rejected, anxious, tired, unseen, or overwhelmed. That is why you defend it. That is why you explain it away. That is why you keep saying, "It's not that serious," even while your spirit keeps paying the bill. The issue is not always the size of the behavior. The issue is the place it occupies in your inner life. If you keep returning to something whenever you are lonely, it is no longer small. If you keep thinking about something that keeps darkening your peace, it is no longer small. If you keep opening the same door that leaves you confused afterward, it is no longer small. If you keep justifying a connection that weakens your discernment, it is no longer small. If you keep feeding a hidden resentment that changes the way you see people, it is no longer small. You see, what is small in appearance can become enormous in influence. And that is what I am trying to show you. You do not have to hate something for it to be harmful. You do not have to be publicly broken for something to be privately dangerous. You do not have to be in a full collapse before I tell you the truth. Sometimes I come to you while you still look functional on the outside because I care too much about what is happening on the inside. I know you have been carrying some things that feel manageable because you have adapted to them. You have learned how to live around them. You have learned how to keep going while they quietly drain you. You have learned how to smile, work, show up, talk normally, and still carry inner fragmentation. But adaptation is not healing. Survival is not freedom. Being used to something does not make it safe. That is why I need you to stop measuring danger only by what is visible. Measure it by what it is producing in you. Is it making you more whole or more divided? Is it making you more peaceful or more restless? Is it making you more honest or more secretive? Is it making you more grounded or more reactive? Is it making you more alive in me or more dependent on substitutes? Let the fruit answer. And act. Do not just sit with conviction and call it reflection. Make a move. Close the door. Delete the number. Leave the environment. Stop revisiting the thought. Interrupt the pattern. Refuse the access. Change the routine. Come back to prayer before you reach for the thing that has become your false comfort. Speak to me before you surrender to the old impulse. Invite me into the exact place where you usually hide. Say to me plainly, I have been calling this small because I did not want to confront what it has become. That kind of honesty opens the door to real freedom. And hear me, because I want you to feel my heart in this. I am not exposing your small things because I want to humiliate you. I am exposing them because I know how much they can grow if they remain in the dark. I am doing what a loving father does when he sees a problem, while it is still early enough to be handled with wisdom instead of regret. I am asking you to trust my interruption. I am asking you to take seriously what your spirit has been trying to tell you. I'm asking you to stop bargaining with what keeps weakening your peace. You are not powerless here. You are not trapped unless you keep pretending nothing is happening. Grace is available right now. Clarity is available right now. Strength is available right now. But you must stop calling dangerous things small just because they entered quietly. Take my hand here. Let me help you uproot what has been growing in secret. Let me teach you how to protect your peace before you have to recover it. Let me show you that obedience at the small level is one of the holiest forms of wisdom. And once you begin to treat the little things with honesty, you will be surprised how quickly your spirit starts breathing again. You will feel the difference. You will hear me more clearly. You will sense your inner world becoming lighter. You will notice that what once had access no longer has authority. That is what I want for you. That is why I am warning you now. And that is why you must not overlook what you have been too quick to call small. My beloved child, I want you to sit with me for a moment and let your heart become still, because what I am about to say touches one of the deepest places in your life. Some of the people around you are not safe for where I am taking you. I say that with tenderness, not with cruelty. I say that with the careful voice of a father who sees beyond what is comfortable, beyond what is familiar, beyond what feels emotionally convenient in the moment. You have been asking me for growth, for healing, for peace, for clarity, for breakthrough, for a fresh season, and I have heard every word. I have listened when you cried in private. I have watched you wrestle through lonely nights. I have seen you carry burdens that made your smile feel heavier than anyone around you realized. And because I am answering those prayers, I need you to understand something that may feel difficult at first. Not everyone who has access to you should continue to have access to you. Not everyone who knows your name should keep reaching your inner world. Not everyone who has been close to your pain is meant to be close to your purpose. I know you want to believe that loyalty means keeping every door open. I know part of you has confused compassion with constant access. I know you have told yourself that because you care deeply, because you understand people's wounds, because you do not want to hurt anyone, maybe you should keep tolerating what has already been quietly draining you. But my child, discernment is not cruelty. Boundaries are not betrayal. Distance is not always rejection. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is step back from what keeps pulling you out of alignment. Some people are not evil, but they are still unhealthy for you. Some people do not hate you, but they still disturb your peace. Some people love the version of you that was wounded, available, overextended, easy to influence, easy to guilt, easy to pull into emotional labor, and they do not know how to respond to the version of you that is becoming stronger, clearer, and more grounded in me. That is why certain relationships begin to feel tight when I start healing you. That is why some conversations leave you with a strange heaviness afterward. That is why you can walk away from a room and feel like your spirit has been stirred in the wrong direction. You have felt this already. You have noticed that there are people who make you second-guess what I have shown you. You have noticed that there are voices around you that keep reviving old fears, old patterns, old insecurities, old versions of you that I am asking you to leave behind. You have noticed that certain people always seem to arrive when you are trying to change, as if something in them resists the peace you are building. Pay attention to that. Do not ignore the fruit of proximity. Look at what happens to your inner life after they speak into it. Look at how you feel after they have had access to your time, your thoughts, your emotions. Do you feel clearer or more confused? Do you feel calmer or more anxious? Do you feel stronger in truth or more tempted to shrink? Do you feel drawn closer to me or subtly pulled back toward old cycles? That matters. It matters more than their intentions. It matters more than their words. It matters more than the history you share. You must stop measuring relationships only by familiarity and start measuring them by fruit. Some of the people you keep protecting are the same ones quietly participating in your delay. Some of the voices you keep excusing are the same voices that make obedience harder. Some of the people you call important are only important because they became emotionally central in seasons when you were vulnerable. That does not automatically mean they are meant to remain in the place they once held. I need you to hear me. Stop letting guilt keep doors open that wisdom is asking you to close. Stop calling something loving when it repeatedly leaves you spiritually weak. Stop assuming that because someone once mattered, they must always remain this close. Seasons change. Souls heal. Paths sever. And if I am asking you to move into a place of greater peace, then I may also be asking you to stop carrying relationships that only survive because you keep sacrificing your discernment to maintain them. Do not panic when you hear this. Do not turn cold. Do not become hard. But do become honest. Ask me plainly, who around me is no longer safe for my peace. And listen. Let the discomfort surface. Let the pattern reveal itself. Let the names you keep avoiding come into the light. If you already know who leaves you emotionally tangled, spiritually drained, mentally clouded, or constantly pulled backward, stop pretending you need more proof. You already have the fruit. You already have the pattern. You already have the warning. Now respond. Step back where you need to step back. Join the conversation where you need to join it. Refuse the invitation where you need to refuse it. Protect your inner life. Guard your gates. Stop handing your peace to people who do not know how to handle what is sacred in you. I am not asking you to stop loving. I am asking you to love wisely. I am not asking you to stop caring. I am asking you to stop confusing access with assignment. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay at the same distance. And if you want the future I am leading you into, you must learn that who surrounds you shapes what survives in you. And because I know your heart, I also know what makes this hard for you. You have a tenderness that makes you want to keep reaching, keep explaining, keep giving another chance, keep hoping that if you just love a little longer, maybe they will change, maybe the dynamic will improve, maybe the old wounds between you will heal on their own. I know you carry that hope. I know you have looked at certain people and thought, but they know my story. They were there when I was broken. They understand what I've been through. And yes, some of them were there. Some of them saw your tears. Some of them sat beside you when your heart was bruised and your strength felt thin. Some of them became part of your survival story. But my child, being part of your survival story does not automatically mean they belong in your next chapter. Sometimes people help you endure one season but cannot walk with you into the next one. Sometimes they connected to your pain but do not know how to honor your healing. Sometimes they are comfortable when you are needy, reachable, overgiving, emotionally available at all hours, but they become unsettled when you become clear, boundaried, peaceful, and less dependent on their approval. That is not always because they are malicious. Sometimes it is because your healing exposes what they have not dealt with in themselves. Sometimes your peace irritates what their chaos used to control. Sometimes your growth confronts what they hoped would stay familiar. And if you are not careful, you will start shrinking to preserve relationships that can only survive if you stay wounded. Do not do that. Do not reduce yourself to remain reachable by people who only know how to love the version of you that had no boundaries. Do not reopen the door I helped you close just because they missed the access they once had. Do not explain yourself into exhaustion trying to make healthy distance feel comfortable for those who benefited from your lack of it. Let your no be clean. Let your silence be clear when silence is wisdom. Let your absence teach what your over-explaining never could. Some people do not understand change until they no longer control the same level of access. And that is not your burden to fix. I want you to hear this deeply, because it will free you if you let it. You are not required to keep every relationship alive at the expense of your peace. You are not called to bleed for every bond simply because you have history. You are not selfish because you stop answering every emotional demand. You are not cruel because you refuse to stay close to what keeps reopening old wounds. You are not unloving because you protect the atmosphere of your spirit. In fact, what I am asking of you is holy. It is mature. It is necessary. I am teaching you how to steward what I am building in you. I am teaching you that your peace is not public property. I am teaching you that your inner life is sacred ground, not an open hallway for anyone who wants to wander through it. And yes, this may cost you. Some people will misunderstand your boundaries. Some people will call your growth distance. Some people will interpret your wisdom as rejection because they preferred the old version of you that was easier to pull back into dysfunction. Let them misunderstand if they must. Let them feel what they feel. But do not betray what I am doing in you just to keep everyone comfortable. You have done that before, and it cost you too much. You know what it feels like to walk away from a conversation feeling cloudy, heavy, guilty, agitated, spiritually off balance. You know what it feels like to give access and then spend hours trying to recover your peace. That is too expensive. Stop paying that price. Start honoring what your spirit has already been showing you. I want you to become the kind of person who notices what certain people awaken in you and acts accordingly. If someone constantly awakens confusion, insecurity, compromise, fear, old cravings, resentment, or emotional instability, do not call that closeness. Call it a wording. Then respond. Pull back. Pray first. Delay the reply. Join the visit. End the cycle. Choose peace over performance. Choose obedience over guilt. Choose clarity over emotional obligation. Invite me into every relationship that confuses you. Lay each name before me. Ask me who is safe for where you are taking me. Then let me answer, even if the answer costs you comfort. I am not emptying your life to leave you lonely. I am clearing space so that what is true, steady, life-giving, and aligned can remain. I am removing pressure so peace can breathe. I am protecting your next season from voices that would weaken it before it begins. Trust me enough to let some doors close. Trust me enough to stop dragging people into places they were never assigned to enter. Trust me enough to believe that when I separate, I do so with purpose. And once you stop clinging to every familiar connection, you will begin to feel it. The air getting lighter, your spirit getting clearer, your heart becoming less crowded, your prayers becoming less strained. That is not loss. That is protection. That is not cruelty. That is care. That is me, your Father, keeping watch over your future and refusing to let you hand it to people who are not safe for where I am taking you. My child, as I separate you from what is not safe, I am also calling you into what is sacred, and this work you are witnessing is part of that sacred ground. Just as I am teaching you to guard your inner life, I am raising this message as a gate of truth for others who are surrounded by voices that weaken them. When you choose to support this mission, you are helping me build a refuge where clarity speaks louder than confusion and light overcomes hidden darkness. I have said, I will make you a light to others, and your giving becomes a lampstand that cannot be hidden. If your heart feels stirred to protect what is holy, that stirring is my voice inviting you to act. This is not just generosity. It is alignment with my purpose to reach those who are still entangled. As you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, I will guard your peace and increase your discernment. Step forward now, honor what I am building, and take your place in this work. My beloved child, come close and be honest with me now, because what you have been calling tiredness is not just tiredness. What you have been describing as stress, burnout, mental overload, or simply a hard season goes deeper than that, and I need you to stop brushing it off as though it is nothing more than a few bad days. You have been trying to function through a kind of inner heaviness that sleep is not fixed, distraction is not fixed, entertainment is not fixed, business is not fixed, and even temporary rest is not fixed. You have had moments where your body was still, but your spirit felt like it was carrying a mountain. You have had nights where you laid down exhausted, but your soul never truly settled. You have smiled when people asked if you were okay, yet deep inside, something kept whispering that you were not just tired, you were worn thin. I want you to hear me clearly and receive this as a loving interruption. Your emotional weariness is not only about what you have done, it is also about what you have been carrying, what you have been tolerating, what you have been delaying, and what you have been feeding in secret. That is why the fatigue feels strange. That is why it follows you into quiet moments. That is why it can show up even when nothing dramatic is happening around you. Your soul hath been under pressure. Your inner life has been stretched. You have been carrying unresolved grief, unfinished obedience, repeated emotional entanglements, mental loops, hidden disappointments, subtle compromises, and quiet battles that no one else can see. That kind of weight does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it just settles into you like fog. Sometimes it wraps itself around your thoughts until clarity feels distant. Sometimes it steals your appetite for things that used to nourish you. Sometimes it makes joy feel like work. Sometimes it makes prayer feel harder, not because I am far, but because your inner world has become crowded with things that were never meant to stay this long. I need you to stop calling this normal. Stop treating soul deep strain like it is just part of adult life. Stop assuming that because other people are also tired, you should simply accept living this way. You were not made to survive in a constant state of emotional erosion. You were not created to function with a fractured inner world and call that maturity. You were not designed to carry hidden heaviness and keep telling yourself, "This is just how life is." And oh, my child, there is a difference between ordinary tiredness and spiritual depletion. There is a difference between needing rest and needing realignment. There is a difference between being physically exhausted and being emotionally entangled, spiritually delayed, mentally cluttered, and quietly burdened by things you keep postponing. I want you to stop and ask yourself a brave question. What exactly have you been carrying that I never asked you to hold? Sit with that. Do not rush. Let the answer come. Maybe it is a relationship that constantly pulls on your peace. Maybe it is the pressure to keep being everything for everyone. Maybe it is the emotional cost of pretending something is fine when it has been wounding you for a long time. Maybe it is a secret habit that leaves you feeling dull afterward. Maybe it is grief you never truly brought into the light. Maybe it is resentment you have kept tucked away because you thought it was safer than dealing with it. Maybe it is fear that has been sitting quietly in the background, influencing your decisions more than you want to admit. Whatever it is, I want you to stop labeling the symptom and ignoring the source. Fatigue is sometimes a signal, not the full story. Your soul has been waving a flag. Your spirit has been trying to tell you that something is misaligned. Your inner weariness is not always asking for a nap. Sometimes it is asking for honesty. Sometimes it is asking for surrender. Sometimes it is asking for boundaries. Sometimes it is asking for repentance. Sometimes it is asking for release. Sometimes it is asking for you to stop numbing what needs healing. Do not run from that truth. Lean in. Come sit with me and put down the explanations. Stop trying to manage this only at the surface. Bring me the real weight. Tell me what keeps straining you. Tell me what you keep going back to even though it never truly restores you. Tell me what has been stealing your peace in small, silent ways. And once you name it, do not just name it and move on. Hand it to me. Surrender it. Stop petting the thing that bites your spirit. Stop revisiting what leaves you weaker. Stop protecting what keeps exhausting you. Your weariness is trying to tell you something. Listen to it with me. Let it become a doorway, not just a diagnosis. Let it lead you back into alignment, because I am not only interested in helping you cope better. I want to heal what has been making you tired in the first place. And my child, I want to take you deeper still, because if you only understand your weariness as emotional overload, you may miss the mercy hidden inside it. Sometimes I allow your false comforts to stop comforting you. Sometimes I let the things you used to lean on begin to feel empty. Sometimes I let the familiar feel hollow so that you will finally realize it was never strong enough to carry what your soul actually needs. That is part of what has been happening. You have been trying to soothe spiritual hunger with temporary substitutes. You have been trying to calm inner chaos with things that only distract you for a moment. You have been reaching for what is easy when what you truly need is holy. And because I love you, I have not let those substitutes fully satisfy you. That is mercy, even if it felt frustrating. I have let the distraction feel thinner. I have let the entertainment feel shorter. I have let the conversation that once made you feel wanted begin to leave you emptier. I have let the habit that once numbed the ache begin to expose the ache instead. I have let the old ways of coping lose their power because I am calling you into something better. I am calling you back to the place where your soul can breathe. I am calling you out of shallow relief and into deep restoration. But I need your cooperation. Do not keep reaching for what is no longer working just because it used to be familiar. Do not keep revisiting the same escape route because you are afraid of sitting still long enough to feel what is really there. Sit with me instead. Come into the quiet with me. Close the extra tabs in your mind. Turn down the noise. Put the phone down for a while. Step away from the endless scrolling that keeps your thoughts moving but never settles your spirit. Stop giving every voice access to your nervous system. Protect your atmosphere. Make room for silence that is not empty but sacred. Let your soul catch up with your body. Invite me into the places where you have been secretly unraveling. Tell me the truth, not the polished version. Say, I am not just tired. I am carrying more than I should, and I need you to show me what must go. Then stay long enough to hear me. I may not answer in the rushed way your anxious mind wants, but I will answer. I will show you where the drain is. I will point to the place where your energy leaks. I will reveal the relationship, the routine, the resentment, the compromise, the delay, the overexposure, the inner agreement with fear, the hidden habit of self-abandonment, the pattern of overgiving, the false responsibility, the old wound you keep reopening. I will show you. But when I show you, do not argue. Do not minimize. Do not say, maybe it's not that serious. If it is costing you peace, it is serious. If it is keeping you spiritually foggy, it is serious. If it is making prayer feel heavy, it is serious. If it is turning your heart inward in ways that isolate you from me, it is serious. Then act. Remove what needs removing. Rest where you need to rest. Repent where you need to repent. Pull back where you need to pull back. Let go where you need to let go. Say no where you have been overextending. Stop performing wellness while privately collapsing. Stop pretending resilience while your soul is asking for rescue. I am not asking you to become dramatic. I am asking you to become truthful. You do not need another strategy before you become honest. You need surrender before you need optimization. You need stillness before you need stimulation. You need my presence before you need another distraction. And hear me carefully, because this is where hope rises. Your weariness is not the end of you. It is not proof that you are failing. It is not evidence that I have left you. It may actually be the place where your healing begins, if you stop fighting what it is trying to reveal. If you let me use this fatigue to uncover what has been misaligned, then what felt like a breakdown can become a breakthrough. What felt like burnout can become the beginning of boundaries. What felt like emptiness can become the start of holy hunger. What felt like mental fog can become the moment you finally clear the room and let my peace settle. So come now. Breathe. Sit down with me. Stop trying to push through what needs to be brought into the light. Let your weariness speak, but do not let it lead you back to the same false comfort. Let it lead you to me. Let it lead you to truth. Let it lead you to the courageous choices that will make your inner world lighter again. I am not just offering you relief for a night. I am offering you restoration for your soul. Receive that. Respond to that. And stop calling soul deep strain just tired when I am trying to show you that your heart is asking for something much more sacred than rest alone. My child, As I reveal the source of your weariness, I am also showing you where life begins again, and part of that life flows through what you are experiencing right now. This message is water in a dry place, and there are many who are still thirsty, still searching for relief that only truth can bring. When you give, you are opening streams in the desert for souls who feel exactly what you have felt but do not yet understand it. I have declared, I will pour water on the thirsty land, and your support becomes part of that outpouring. If something in you says, others need this healing too, that is my invitation to you. Do not hold back what can become a river through your obedience. As you give through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, I will restore your strength and renew your spirit like a well that does not run dry. Act now, release your seed, and let healing flow beyond you. My beloved child, come closer and listen carefully, because this is where many of you lose precious time without realizing it. You keep waiting for a bigger sign. You keep telling yourself that if I really want your attention, I will make it louder, clearer, sharper, more dramatic, more undeniable. You have been hoping for thunder when I have already been speaking in the tremble. You have been looking for lightning strike while I have been faithful in the flicker. You have been waiting for the whole sky to split open while I have already touched your peace, interrupted your comfort, unsettled your spirit, and placed warning after warning in the quiet corners of your day. My child, do not overlook this. You do not need a mountain to move before you believe the pebble in your shoe is real. You do not need the whole house to shake before you admit the foundation has already shifted. You do not need a roaring alarm when the smoke is already in the room. I need you to stop demanding a louder sign while ignoring the loving signals I have already given you. I have spoken through the unease you felt after that conversation. I have spoken through the heaviness that followed that choice. I have spoken through the way your peace vanished when you kept reopening the same door. I have spoken through the repeated discomfort that kept returning every time you tried to call something harmless that was quietly harming you. I have spoken through the pattern, the pause, the pressure, the restlessness, the internal check that would not leave you alone. That was me. That was not random emotion. That was not you being overly sensitive. That was not simply a weird feeling. That was me, your father, stepping into your inner world and whispering, pay attention. Slow down. Do not go further. Do not keep touching what is not safe. Do not keep calling peace where I have already removed it. But because my warning did not come wrapped in something dramatic enough to satisfy your craving for certainty, you kept postponing obedience. You kept telling yourself, if it were really from God, it would be clear. Yet, my child, I have been clear. The problem has not been the absence of clarity. The problem has been the discomfort of what clarity requires. You have not needed more revelation as much as you have needed more willingness. That is why I am speaking plainly now. Stop waiting for a sign so large that it leaves you no choice. Stop asking me to remove all ambiguity when what I have already shown you is enough to act on. Wisdom does not always wait for catastrophe. Wisdom responds to conviction before collapse. Wisdom pays attention to the subtle shifts in peace, the small losses of clarity, the repeated moments of unease, the inner witness that says, something is not right here. That is how I often protect you, before the storm, not only in it. That is how mercy works. I do not always wait until the consequences are obvious to everyone around you. I often come to you privately first, because I care more about prevention than spectacle. I would rather you obey a whisper than recover from a wreck. I would rather you close a door in discernment than have it slammed shut by pain. I would rather you move because your spirit knows than because your world finally breaks enough to force you. So hear me. Stop bargaining with a warning because it was gentle. Stop dismissing the nudge because it did not arrive with drama. Stop waiting for a sign that fits your imagination while ignoring the signs I have faithfully placed in your path. The bigger sign you keep asking for may come, but not because I failed to speak. It may come because you kept overlooking what I already gave. Do not let it reach that point. Take the quiet signs seriously. Take the repeated discomfort seriously. Take the way your peace keeps thinning seriously. Take the loss of ease in places you used to force yourself to remain seriously. Take the pattern seriously. And if you already know what I have been pointing to, stop acting like confusion is still the issue. It is not confusion anymore. It is decision. It is surrender. It is whether you will trust the whisper before life has to teach you through a shout. Come with me here. Sit down. Ask me again, but this time ask differently. Do not say, "Give me a bigger sign." Say, "Give me the courage to obey the sign you already gave." That prayer will change you. That prayer will open your ears. That prayer will strip away the illusion that more confirmation is what you need. And when you pray it, do not rush away. Stay still. Let the names surface. Let the patterns rise. Let the familiar places of unrest come into focus. And act. Do not keep standing in the doorway of a decision that has already been made clear in your spirit. Move. Step back. Close the door. Cancel the return. Refuse the old pull. Honor the quiet wisdom I already placed in you. That is how you stop avoidable pain before it grows. And my beloved child, I want you to understand something that may cut deeper than you expect, because it is tied to the way fear often disguises itself in spiritual language. Sometimes when you say, "I just need a bigger sign," what you really mean is, "I do not want to bear the emotional cost of obeying what I already know." I say that with love, not accusation, because I know how the heart works when attachment is involved. You may be waiting for a bigger sign because you do not want to release that relationship unless the evidence becomes undeniable. You may be waiting for a bigger sign because you do not want to confront the habit that still comforts you in your weak moments. You may be waiting for a bigger sign because you do not want to admit that the thing you keep revisiting is no longer neutral. You may be waiting for a bigger sign because if you call it what it is, then you will have to make a move, and movement means grief, change, boundaries, discomfort, loss of control, loss of access, loss of illusion. I know that. I see the hidden cost of the choices in front of you. But hear me now with the tenderness of a father who is trying to free you. The sign is already big enough if it keeps returning. The sign is already big enough if your peace keeps leaving. The sign is already big enough if you keep having to explain away the same discomfort. The sign is already big enough if every time you step into it, something inside you gets dimmer. The sign is already big enough if you keep needing to talk yourself into what your spirit keeps trying to warn you about. You do not need a billboard from heaven when the fruit is already speaking. You do not need a burning bush when the burden in your chest is already telling the truth. You do not need the whole room to tremble when the same red flag keeps waving in your soul. Do not become the person who keeps asking for confirmation while secretly hoping the answer changes. Do not turn discernment into delay. Do not use spiritual language to protect emotional attachments. Be honest with me. Say, "I have been asking for more signs because I am afraid to obey the one you already gave." That kind of honesty is holy. That kind of honesty breaks the spell of delay. That kind of honesty lets me meet you in the exact place where fear has been dressing itself in careful language. And once you are honest, you can move. You can stop circling the same mountain. You can stop revisiting the same question. You can stop turning every inner warning into a debate. You can stop making yourself live in the exhausting tension of "I know," But I'm not ready. My child, the tension is draining you. It is one of the reasons your spirit has felt crowded. It is one of the reasons peace has felt thin. You are carrying the weight of postponed clarity. You are living with a yes trapped behind fear. That is why I am calling you now. Come out of that. Step out of the fog. Stop asking for one more sign and start honoring the ones that already came. Take inventory. Write down where peace keeps disappearing. Notice what you always have to justify. Look at what keeps stirring confusion. Pay attention to what keeps stealing your clarity after the moment passes. Let the fruit preach louder than your emotions. Then make a clean move. If you need to end the conversation, end it. If you need to stop visiting that place, stop. If you need to delete the access point, delete it. If you need to tell someone no, say it cleanly. If you need to repent for the pattern you kept minimizing, bring it fully into the light. If you need to sit in the grief of letting go, sit there with me instead of running back to the old thing for comfort. I will hold you in the ache. I will steady you in the uncertainty. I will not abandon you in the cost of obedience. But I will not keep pretending you need a louder voice when I have already been faithful in the quiet. This is your invitation. Take it. Stop treating the whisper like it is too small to matter. The whisper was mercy. The whisper with wisdom. The whisper was me standing at the edge of your next mistake and reaching for you before it became your next regret. Do not wait for thunder when I have already touched your heart. Listen now. Move now. And let this be the moment where you stop asking for a bigger sign and start becoming the kind of child who recognizes my hand even in the softest nudge. My child, you no longer need a bigger sign. You are standing inside one right now. The same way I have been speaking to you in whispers, I am using this message to reach countless others who are still waiting, still delaying, still asking for more proof. When you choose to give, you are helping my voice travel further, turning whispers into lifelines for those on the edge of decisions that will shape their future. I have said, blessed is the one who hears and obeys, and your obedience in this moment carries eternal weight. If your spirit is nudging you, do not delay again. This is not coincidence. This is calling. Your seed becomes fire that spreads truth into places where darkness has lingered too long. As you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, I will order your steps and establish you in peace. Do not wait. Move now, give now, and honor the sign you already receive. My beloved child, come close and stay with me here, because this is where everything I have been saying comes to a point. This is not the moment for you to simply feel stirred and then drift back into the same pattern by the end of the day. This is not the place where you say, "That touched me," and then quietly return to the very thing that has been draining your peace, clouding your judgment, exhausting your soul, and delaying your obedience. This is the moment to respond. Not tomorrow. Not when your emotions settle. Not when you feel stronger. Not after one more sign, one more conversation, one more cycle, one more attempt to make something unhealthy suddenly become safe. Right now, in this holy interruption, I am asking you for movement, not merely emotion. Conviction without response becomes another layer of heaviness. It becomes another moment your spirit remembers as truth you recognized but did not honor. I do not want that for you. I do not want you to become the kind of person who can feel deeply and still stay stuck. I want your heart soft enough to feel and brave enough to act. I want your spirit tender enough to recognize my voice and strong enough to move when I speak. So stop right here and do not rush past this. Put down the part of you that wants to admire the message while protecting the pattern. Lay down the version of yourself that keeps turning holy moments into emotional experiences instead of life-changing decisions. Breathe. Stay still. Let the room around you quiet down. Let your thoughts stop running ahead. Invite me into this exact second and say plainly, "Show me what I must do now." And listen. Do not fill the silence with your own explanations. Do not soften what comes up. Do not start negotiating with what I reveal. If I bring a name to your heart, do not excuse it. If I show you a habit, do not minimize it. If I point to a place, a pattern, a compromise, a connection, a delay, a secret comfort, a hidden resentment, a repeated escape route, do not act surprised and then do nothing. This is not the time to collect insight. This is the time to obey. Your next step may be practical. It may be uncomfortable. It may be small in the eyes of others, but it will be massive in the spirit because obedience is often born in moments that look simple on the outside. Maybe you need to send a message you have been avoiding. Maybe you need to stop answering one. Maybe you need to delete the access point you keep leaving open just in case. Maybe you need to leave the environment you keep calling manageable. Maybe you need to confess what you have kept hidden. Maybe you need to set a boundary you have delayed because you feared how someone would react. Maybe you need to stop revisiting what you already know I told you to release. Whatever it is, do not keep dressing hesitation up as discernment. Do not keep calling delay wisdom when deep down you know it is fear. Fear sounds careful. Fear sounds reasonable. Fear says, "Let's wait until everything is clearer." But wisdom often says you already know enough to move. You do not need every future detail before you take the next right step. You do not need to feel no pain before you obey. You do not need to feel emotionally ready before you choose what is spiritually right. Some of the strongest moments in your life will not be the ones where you felt fearless. They will be the ones where you felt the ache, the uncertainty, the trembling, the grief, and still chose truth over comfort. That is what I am calling you into now. Do not stand in the doorway any longer. Walk through it. If tears come, let them come. If your hands shake, let them shake. If your heart feels heavy as you do what must be done, do it anyway. I will be in the movement. I will meet you in the message you send, the boundary you set, the door you close, the habit you break, the confession you make, the silence you finally allow, the space you stop filling with false comfort. I will be there. I am not asking you to respond alone. I'm asking you to respond with me. Take my hand in this. Let this be the hour where conviction becomes courage, where insight becomes action, where what almost remained a warning finally becomes a turning point. Do not just nod. Do not just agree. Do not just feel. Respond. And my child, I want to tell you something beautiful before you move, because I know your heart can still feel hesitant when the moment of action arrives. You may think the hardest part is what you are about to lose, what you are about to confront, what you are about to end, what you are about to surrender. But the deeper truth is this: the hardest part is often the moment before obedience, not the life after it. The mind makes it feel massive. The emotions make it feel unbearable. The fear paints it larger than it is. The enemy whispers that if you let go, you will collapse. If you close the door, you will regret it. If you tell the truth, everything will unravel. If you stop returning, the emptiness will swallow you. But he is lying to you, my child. What waits on the other side of obedience is not ruin. It is relief. It is release. It is room to breathe. It is the first clean breath after carrying something too heavy for too long. It is the quiet after chaos. It is the calm after confusion. It is the return of clarity you did not realize you missed until it comes back. That is why I need you to stop romanticizing the tension of indecision. Stop living as if staying in the middle is safer than choosing. The middle has been draining you. The middle has been exhausting you. The middle has been the slow leak in your soul. Enough. Come out of the middle. Step fully into truth. I want you to do something now, not later. Take inventory. Right after this, do not scroll away. Do not distract yourself. Sit down with a blank page if you need to. Write what I have already shown you. Name the person, the pattern, the place, the compromise, the habit, the thought loop, the attachment, the unfinished act of obedience. Put it in front of you where it can no longer hide behind vague language. Then beside it, write the response. Write what you need to do. Be specific. I will stop answering. I will leave this place. I will confess this. I will set this boundary. I will remove this access. I will stop revisiting this. I will repent. I will fast from this distraction. I will rest from this overextension. I will choose silence over another toxic conversation. Make it plain. Then act on the first step before the day ends. Do not let this become another sacred moment buried under tomorrow's excuses. If you need to cry, cry and obey. If you need to breathe deeply for 5 minutes first, breathe and obey. If you need to sit in discomfort, sit and obey. But obey. I want you to understand that your response does not have to be dramatic to be powerful. A simple no can be holy. A deleted contact can be holy. A canceled visit can be holy. A prayer of repentance spoken honestly can be holy. A boundary quietly kept can be holy. A habit interrupted in secret can be holy. A door left closed can be holy. Heaven notices what the world overlooks. Heaven sees the small, sacred shifts where a child finally stops resisting and starts trusting. And when you respond, do not keep looking backward every 5 minutes to see if the old thing still wants you. Do not reopen the wound just to prove you still can. Do not keep checking whether the door is still unlocked. Shut it. Seal it. Bring it to me. Then stay with me in the aftermath. Let me soothe what aches. Let me calm what trembles. Let me refill the place where the old thing once sat. Let me teach you that obedience is not the loss of your life but the recovery of it. This is the moment, my beloved. Not just to feel convicted, but let conviction become movement. Not just to say amen, but to let your actions speak louder than your agreement. Not just to recognize the warning, but to honor it with a real decision. I'm here. I am near. I am not watching from a distance. I am standing beside you, ready to strengthen your next step. So rise now. Choose now. Act now. Let this be the moment you remember not as the day you felt something powerful, but as the day you finally stopped overlooking what I said, and everything began to change because you answered me with your whole heart. My child, you have reached the moment of response, and what you do next matters more than what you felt. Just as I have called you to act on what I revealed, I am also inviting you to act in advancing this word so it reaches those who are still standing where you once stood. This is not just a message, it is a turning point for many, and your giving becomes the hand that pulls others into that same breakthrough. I have spoken, give, and it will be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and I am faithful to fulfill it. If you feel the urgency to help carry this truth, that is me calling you into partnership. Do not let this moment pass as another feeling. Seal it with action. As you give through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, I will open doors, release provision, and establish favor over your life. And now rise, respond, give, and let this be the moment where obedience becomes legacy. Before you leave, my child, do not stay silent after hearing this warning. If this message found the place in you that knew I was speaking, then comment, "I will not overlook this warning," and make that your line in the sand. Let that declaration be more than words. Let it be your holy decision, your turning point, your no more moment. If you feel me calling you out of delay and into obedience, write, "Lord, I respond now," and let heaven witness your yes. Do not scroll away unchanged, my beloved. Seal this moment with your voice, and let your comment become the first step of your obedience. And now, my child, because you have chosen to respond to the warning, do not let the urgency of this moment become another source of pressure. I am not calling you to panic. I am calling you to pay attention. There is a difference between fear that makes you run and wisdom that teaches you when to stop. So become still with me for a moment. Let the noise fall away and allow your heart to recognize what has been hidden beneath all the rushing. You have been moving so quickly that you may have forgotten what your soul has been trying to tell you. But I have not forgotten. I have seen every sign, every hesitation, every moment when something inside you whispered that you needed to slow down. Stay here now, because this warning is not meant to frighten you, it is meant to awaken you before you move any further. My child, I need you to pause right now. You are running too fast, and the noise around you is deafening. You wake up to the sound of alarms. You rush through your morning with a mind full of worries, and you spend your day surrounded by the loud, demanding voices of this world. I see the heavy pressure at your job that makes your shoulders tense and ache. I know all about the unspoken tensions in your family that you try so hard to fix. I watch you when you sit alone in a crowded room, feeling completely overlooked, exhausted, and invisible. You feel a tight knot in your stomach when you think about the future, wondering how you will handle everything that is coming your way. Do you feel that knot right now? That tight, heavy feeling of panic is not from me. Let us undo it together. Take a deep, slow breath. Close your eyes for just a moment. Listen to my voice. I am speaking to you, but my voice is not like the loud sirens of your daily anxiety. I do not shout over the chaos. I whisper in the stillness. You must recognize the stillness of my voice in this incredibly loud world. You are so used to the constant buzzing of your phone, the endless stream of bad news on your screens, and the harsh chatter of people who do not truly know your heart. You let these things fill your mind until there is almost no room left for me. I command you to carve out quiet spaces in your day. I invite you to turn off the screens, step away from the crowd, and simply sit with me. You cannot hear a whisper in a hurricane, and you cannot hear my loving guidance when your mind is a storm of endless overthinking. You need to understand that silence is often the very first step to a massive breakthrough. You treat silence as if it is an awkward emptiness that needs to be quickly filled with music, talking, or distractions. But silence is the deep breath you take before you face a major challenge. Silence is the quiet pause before the heavy storm breaks and the rain washes the dirt away. When everything grows quiet in your life, do not panic. Do not rush to fill the void with meaningless tasks. I am simply clearing the stage so you can hear my revelation. I am preparing your heart for something entirely new. You must discern the huge difference between the terrifying noise of the world and my loving, gentle warning. The world uses fear to control your actions. I use peace to guide your steps. If a thought brings you pure panic and confusion, it is not my voice. If a thought brings a silent, still, and steady conviction, that is me gently pulling you back to the safe path. I am calling you to cultivate a heart that is completely ready to listen at any hour of the day or night. You cannot only seek me when you are sitting in a church building or when your life is falling apart. I want to talk to you while you are washing the dishes. I want to guide you while you are driving your car to work. I want you to wake up in the middle of the night, feel a gentle pull in your spirit, and simply say, "I am listening, Father." You must acknowledge that the very first step to true, lasting wisdom is a watchful spirit. A watchful spirit does not mean you walk around scared or paranoid of the future. It means you are fully awake. It means you pay attention to the small details. It means you notice the closed doors and the open windows I deliberately place in front of you. You must accept that staying awake in your spirit is a deliberate, daily choice. You cannot rely on the prayers you prayed yesterday to carry you through the tough battles of today. The enemy wants to lull you into a deep spiritual sleep. He wants you to become comfortable, lazy, and easily distracted by temporary things that do not matter in the end. I am shaking you gently by the shoulders right now. I am telling you to wake up. You have been warned, my beloved child, and I am giving you this warning out of profound, unending love. I do not want you to miss the beautiful, life-changing plans I have laid out for you just because you were too distracted to notice the signs. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart soft. Keep your mind firmly fixed on me. Walk with me today, step by step, and watch how I carefully guide you through the noise and into my perfect peace. I want you to pay close attention right now, because the ground beneath your feet is shifting. You have been feeling it for weeks, perhaps even months, haven't you? You wake up and feel a strange, restless energy in your chest. The job that once brought you deep satisfaction now feels like a heavy, ill-fitting coat. The daily routines that used to give you a sense of comforting rhythm now leave you feeling empty, bored, and incredibly drained. You think there is something broken inside of you, but I am telling you today that nothing is wrong with you. I am shifting the seasons in your life. I am changing the winds in your personal walk with me, and you must observe these changes without fear. You must recognize that when old comforts no longer provide peace, it is not a punishment. It is my divine invitation to step into something greater. I am asking you to trust the internal prompting that softly tells you a major transition is near. You often try to fight this feeling. You try to force yourself to be happy in spaces that you have completely outgrown. You cling desperately to old friendships, old habits, and old ways of thinking because they are familiar, even if they are subtly hurting you. I command you to let go of the dead branches. I want you to guard your heart against the heavy lethargy that comes with spiritual comfort. When you get too comfortable, you stop growing. You stop seeking my face with the desperate passion you once had. You settle for a mundane, predictable life. But I never created you to simply exist. I created you to thrive, to conquer, and to walk in extraordinary purpose. Look closely at the signs I have placed in the mundane details of your life. The closed door you are crying over today is actually my hand of protection. The sudden end of a relationship, the unexpected shift in your finances, the sudden desire to pull away from the crowd, these are all my signs. I am clearing the path. I need you to prepare your soul for the massive harvest that follows the painful pruning. Pruning always feels like a loss. When a tree is cut back, it looks bare, exposed, and vulnerable. I know you feel exposed right now. You feel like you are losing pieces of your identity. But I am not taking things away to leave you empty. I am removing the excess weight so you can finally bear real fruit. Do not resist the season of pruning. Do not complain about the uncomfortable transitions. Instead, lean into my chest. Ask me what I am building in the dark. I promise you, the harvest that is coming to your life will completely overwhelm you with joy. I am making you stronger, wiser, and far more resilient. You just need to accept the shift. Breathe in the new air. Walk confidently into this new season, knowing that I am already there, waiting to bless you beyond your wildest imagination. You are carrying a massive weight on your shoulders today, and the tragic truth is that you do not have to carry it. You keep telling yourself that you will deal with it later. You say you will forgive that family member when you have more time to process the anger. You say you will finally start pursuing the dream I placed in your heart tomorrow or next week, when your schedule is less hectic. You promise yourself that you will lay your intense financial fears and your career anxieties at my feet just as soon as you figure out a backup plan. I must warn you right now, later is a merciless thief. You must realize that later is often the greatest enemy of now. The enemy of your soul does not always tempt you with obvious evil. He tempts you with the illusion of unlimited time. He whispers that you can afford to wait, that you can delay your obedience without any consequences. I am telling you with absolute authority that delayed obedience is still a form of disobedience. When I prompt you to make a change, to apologize, to step out in faith, or to simply rest in my presence, I am giving you a command for this exact moment. I see how the enemy uses the deceptive illusion of time to deliberately stall your growth. You look at the calendar and think you have decades to fulfill your purpose. So you waste a day scrolling through mindless distractions and worrying about things you cannot control. I command you to stop this cycle. I invite you to address the heavy, crushing burdens you have been putting off. You feel the tension in your neck. You feel the exhaustion deep in your bones. That is the physical toll of procrastination. You are carrying tomorrow's imaginary problems while neglecting today's divine assignments. I need you to deeply grasp the profound urgency of the hour in which you currently lie. You do not have time to sit on the sidelines of your own life. The world is desperate for the specific light, the unique talents, and the pure love that I placed inside of you. When you delay your healing, you delay the healing of those who are assigned to your life. I am calling you to take action. I commit to walking with you, but you must commit to taking the very first step before the sun sets today. Do not wait for a perfect, peaceful moment to obey my voice. The perfect moment is right now, in the middle of your mess, in the middle of your uncertainty. Send that message, like that phone call. Forgive that debt. Surrender that impossible situation to me right now. I will immediately meet you at the point of your action. I will flood your heart with a peace that shatters your anxiety, but you must move. Step forward today and watch how I move the mountains that have been blocking your path. You live in a world that is completely saturated with voices clamoring for your attention, your money, and your soul. Every time you open your phone, turn on a screen, or walk into a crowded room, someone is trying to sell you a shortcut to happiness. I see you feeling confused and overwhelmed by the sheer volume of opinions. You listen to charismatic leaders, wealthy influencers, and persuasive speakers who promise you an easy life, a quick fix to your pain, and immediate success. I am giving you a stern, loving warning today. You must carefully test every single spirit to see if it truly aligns with my word. Do not be easily dazzled by a shiny presentation. Do not be manipulated by a person simply because they speak with confidence and look successful on the outside. I command you to look beyond the surface charm and the magnetic charisma to find the actual fruit of the Spirit. A wolf in sheep's clothing never looks like a wolf. They look safe. They sound comforting. They use words that sound like truth, but their core is completely hollow. I want you to beware of messages that merely tickle your ears but secretly starve your soul. If a message tells you that you never have to sacrifice, that you are the center of the universe, and that your temporary comfort is more important than your eternal character. You are listening to a dangerous lie. These messages will leave you feeling completely empty and desperately anxious when real storms hit your life. You must trust the Holy Spirit's gentle check in your spirit. Have you ever listened to someone, and even though everything they said sounded perfectly logical, you felt a deep, unexplainable knot in your stomach? That is me. That is my spirit warning you that something is fundamentally wrong. I urge you to never ignore that divine discomfort. Seek my pure counsel before blindly following the paths of men. People will constantly let you down. Human leaders will fail you. Trends will change overnight. But my truth is an unshakable bedrock. You must remember that the narrow gate is rarely the most popular one. The right choice will often make you look foolish to your coworkers. Standing for my truth might cause tension with your extended family. It will require you to walk away from toxic environments that everyone else seems to enjoy. Do not let the fear of missing out force you into a trap. I have given you a brilliant, discerning mind and a sensitive spirit. Use them. I will always protect you from deception if you simply ask me to open your eyes. I promise to give you crystal clear vision so you can effortlessly spot the danger hidden behind a smile and safely navigate toward the people and places that actually nourish your soul. I want to talk to you about the heavy, silent guilt you carry deep inside your chest. You rarely speak about it, but I see it weighing you down every single day. I know you spend time looking back at your past, reflecting on the times I spoke gently to your heart, and you completely chose not to hear. You remember the gut feeling that told you not to trust that person, but you ignored it and ended up broken-hearted. You remember the quiet prompting to walk away from that bad habit, but you justified it, and now you feel trapped. You understand the painful consequences of ignoring my gentle corrections. You have seen firsthand how incredibly small, seemingly harmless deviations can ultimately lead to great, terrifying distances from my safe path. You beat yourself up over these past mistakes. You replay the scenarios in your mind, torturing yourself with what if and if only. I am stepping into your thoughts right now to stop this agonizing cycle. I command you to forgive yourself for your past ignorance. You cannot change yesterday, but you can absolutely choose future clarity today. The enemy wants you to drown in a sea of regret so that you feel too unworthy to step into your destiny. I am telling you that your past does not disqualify you. It simply educates you. I want you to deeply appreciate that my warnings, even the ones you ignored, were pure expressions of my fierce, protective love for you. I never warn you to restrict your joy. I warn you to preserve your life. I need you to learn to value my no just as much as you value my yes. You get so excited when I open a door, but you throw a tantrum when I slam a door shut. You must realize that when I say no to a job opportunity, a relationship, or a specific plan, I am literally saving you from years of unseen misery. My no is a massive, impenetrable shield of armor placed deliberately in front of you. Embrace it. Thank me for the doors I closed, because the things behind them would have destroyed the beautiful future I have planned for you. From this day forward, when you hear my gentle whisper pulling you back, do not fight me. Do not argue with my timing. Surrender instantly. I will take all the broken pieces of your past mistakes and weave them into a spectacular testimony of grace. I am washing away your regret right now. Receive my forgiveness. Stand up tall and walk into your future with a renewed, sharpened ability to hear my voice clearly and obey it gladly. My child, now that your ears are open and your past mistakes are completely washed clean, do not casually overlook this crucial invitation. I am inviting you to partner directly with me to sound this urgent warning to millions of souls who are still walking blindly toward a terrifying cliff. When you boldly sow a financial seed into this ministry today, you are physically lighting a blazing torch that will violently rescue terrified people from the dark grips of deception. I declare over you right now that he who sows bountifully into my kingdom will reap a massive, miraculous harvest in their own real life. Because you choose to fiercely fund the spread of my word, I will rapidly multiply your resources, place an impenetrable shield of protection around your finances, and pour out overflowing favor upon your entire household. Do not delay this divine appointment, for the hour is incredibly late and the spiritual harvest is desperately ripe. Step forward in bold obedience right now and support this mission by giving a super thanks, becoming a channel member, or using the PayPal link in the description below. My child, pause before you even think of turning away. Do you know how deeply it breaks my heart when you leave our conversation just as I am healing your deepest wounds? Do not walk away while my hands are still actively at work on your soul. I have massive, life-altering truths coming in the next few moments that are absolutely vital for your spiritual survival. Stay with me. Listen closely. The exact breakthrough you have been desperately begging for is waiting just ahead, and it would completely shatter my heart if you missed it simply because you were too rushed to wait for my finish. You make thousands of decisions every single day, and I know how completely exhausting it is. You constantly wonder if you are making the right choice for your career, for your children, for your finances, and for your own mental health. You look around for validation, asking friends for advice, searching the internet for answers, and trying to read the unpredictable moods of your boss or your spouse. You are navigating a dark, complex forest with a broken compass, and it is leaving you paralyzed with anxiety. I am calling you today to stop looking outward for direction and start strengthening your internal compass. I command you to immerse yourself completely in my scriptures to heavily calibrate your heart. My word is not a dusty history book. It is a living, breathing map that directly addresses the specific, modern struggles you are facing right this very minute. I invite you to practice the difficult but life-saving discipline of absolute solitude. You cannot hear my clear direction when the television is blaring, your phone is buzzing, and your mind is racing through your to-do list. You must carve out moments of total quiet to let my voice rise above the noise. In that quiet space, I want you to let my supernatural peace be the final umpire that decisively dictates your very next move. If an opportunity looks perfect on paper, promises great money, and impresses everyone around you, but it robs you of your sleep and makes your chest tight with dread, it is not from me. Walk away. I will never lead you into a situation that fundamentally destroys your inner peace. You must drastically shift where you source your value. I command you to firmly ground your core identity in my unconditional love rather than the shifting sands of worldly validation. If you need people to constantly clap for you in order to feel secure, you will be utterly destroyed the moment they criticize you. When you know deep in your bones that you are my deeply cherished, fully accepted child, the opinions of your critics simply will not matter. Develop a fierce, daily habit of consulting me in the extremely small decisions. Do not just bring me the life-altering crises. Bring me your frustrating morning commute. Bring me the difficult email you have to write. Bring me the tense conversation you are dreading. When you invite me into the microscopic details of your day, you build a fortress of trust between us. Trust with absolute certainty that I will never, ever lead you to a place where my sustaining grace cannot easily keep you. Step forward with profound confidence today, knowing your internal compass is locked onto my infallible truth. You are incredibly exhausted, and I know exactly why. You have been carrying the massive, crushing weight of your entire world on your own two shoulders, desperately trying to convince yourself and everyone around you that you have it all together. You wake up every single morning and put on a brave face, but deep down, You feel completely burned out. You are trying to be the savior of your own life. You try to fix your family members. You try to outwork your financial fears. And you try to control every single detail of your future. I am telling you today to absolutely shed the dangerous pride that tells you that you can walk this difficult road alone. You were never created to carry this level of stress. You were never designed to operate independently of my constant, sustaining grace. I command you to stop striving. I invite you to drop the heavy bags you have been dragging behind you for years. I need you to honestly admit that your strength is perfected only in your weakness. The world tells you to hustle harder, to grind longer, and to never let them see you sweat. The world demands that you be entirely self-sufficient. But I am asking you for the exact opposite. I want your surrender. I see the painful moments when you have tried to build your career, your relationships, and your security completely without my foundation. You made your plans, you forced doors open, and you built a house on shifting sand, only to watch it inevitably crack and crumble under the pressure of real life. You stay up late into the night, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out the impossible math of your life. Lean into the absolute reality that apart from me, you can do nothing of eternal value. You might achieve temporary, fleeting success on your own, but it will always leave you feeling horribly empty and incredibly anxious. I command you to exchange your heavy, agonizing yoke for the light, easy one I am continuously offering you right now. You are holding on to your independence like a prize, but it is actually a prison. Do you feel the tension in your jaw? Do you feel the deep ache in your back from carrying burdens that do not belong to you? Hand them to me. Right now, in this very moment, whisper the words, I cannot do this alone. There is no shame in needing your Father. In fact, there is immense and unspeakable power in it. When you finally stop trying to prove your worth through your own exhaustive efforts, I can step in and do the impossible on your behalf. I want you to celebrate the glorious freedom found in total, radical dependence on me. When you are fully dependent on me, your anxiety shatters. Your fear of failure completely evaporates because the pressure is no longer on you to perform. Breathe out your stress right now. Let me carry the weight. Let me be the strong foundation you rest your weary head upon tonight. You are drowning in a sea of endless, meaningless noise, and it is quietly choking the life right out of your spirit. You wake up in the morning, and before you even say a word to me, before you even take a deep breath, you reach for your phone. You immediately flood your brain with the loud digital clamor of the modern age. You stare at a glowing screen, consuming the filtered, fake lives of complete strangers, reading terrifying news headlines, and letting the world dictate exactly how you should feel before your feet even hit the floor. I command you to forcefully unplug from this digital chaos that entirely drowns out my divine voice. You cannot expect to hear my gentle whisper when you have earbuds playing constant noise and eyes glued to a flashing screen. You are starving for deep connection, but you are settling for cheap, shallow entertainment. I urge you to brutally audit the specific influences that consume your precious thoughts and your limited time. What are you feeding your mind every single day? You tell me that you do not have 10 minutes to sit quietly in prayer, but you spend countless hours mindlessly scrolling through videos that leave you feeling empty, jealous, and anxious. I see how you let perfectly good things become the most dangerous enemies of the best things I have for you. Your job is good, your hobbies are good, but when they completely replace your time with me, they become destructive idols. You must vigorously guard the gates of your eyes and your ears with relentless diligence. The enemy does not need to destroy your life with a massive tragedy. He is perfectly happy to slowly destroy your purpose through 1,000 tiny, daily distractions. I am calling you to drastically reclaim the absolute sanctity of your morning moments with me. I invite you to give me the very first fruits of your day. Before the emails demand your attention, before the kids need to be fed, before the stressful commute begins, sit with me. Just you and me in the quiet. And notice how drastically your anxiety drops when you refuse to let the world's frantic priorities dictate your inner peace. The culture around you is absolutely addicted to outrage, comparison, and constant stimulation. I command you to step out of that toxic current. Protect your focus. Defend your peace of mind. When you turn off the constant noise of the world, you will be utterly amazed at how clearly and loudly I begin to speak directly into your actual, real-life situations. Choose to disconnect from the chaos today, so you can powerfully reconnect with the true source of your absolute strength. You have spent so many nights crying over closed doors, utterly convinced that you were failing or being punished. You applied for that job and were rejected. You poured your heart into a relationship, and that person walked away. You watched an opportunity you desperately wanted completely slip through your fingers, and you felt a deep, agonizing sting of disappointment. I need you to listen to me very carefully right now. I command you to radically change your perspective on rejection. You must fiercely trust that my boundaries are for your absolute safety, not your arbitrary restriction. I am not holding good things back from you. I am holding unseen disasters back from you. You must deeply understand that some doors are slammed shut purely to protect you from terrifying harm that you do not have the eyes to see. I am the master architect of your divine protection. When you pray, Lord, guide my steps, you must trust me when I deliberately block your path. You cannot see the toxic work environment that would have destroyed your mental health. You cannot see the hidden betrayals that person would have inflicted upon your trusting heart. I see the end from the very beginning. I invite you to confidently walk within the massive, impenetrable hedge of protection I have carefully built around you through your prayers. Do not try to climb over the wall I built to keep you safe. I command you to put on your full spiritual armor daily to stand firmly against the wicked schemes of darkness. The enemy is constantly plotting to derail your life, to ruin your reputation, and to steal your peace through workplace politics, family drama, and sudden financial hits. You must securely rest in the unshakable knowledge that I am your mighty fortress and your highest tower. When the rumors start flying at work, when your character is unfairly attacked, when everything around you feels incredibly unstable, run immediately into my arms. You do not have to fight every single battle that comes to your doorstep. You do not have to fiercely defend yourself against every false accusation. I am your fierce defender. I am your ultimate shield. I command you to believe, deep in your bones, that absolutely no weapon formed against you shall ultimately prosper. They might form the weapon, they might point it at you, but I will completely dismantle it before it can destroy your destiny. Stop weeping over the paths I blocked. Start profusely thanking me for the invisible accidents, the hidden traps, and the secret betrayals that I actively rescued you from today. You feel deeply ashamed of the heavy doubts that keep you awake at night. You sit in the dark, staring at the wall, quietly wondering if I am actually listening to your prayers. You look at your bank account. You look at your broken relationships. You look at the medical report, and a dark, terrifying thought creeps into your mind. What if God is not going to fix this? What if I am completely on my own? You feel like a bad believer. You feel guilty for questioning me. I am speaking directly to that silent, agonizing shame right now. I want you to see your doubt not as a massive spiritual failure, but as a brilliant, powerful catalyst for deeper seeking. Do not run away from me when you feel unsure. Run directly toward me with your hardest, most brutal questions. I am absolutely big enough to handle your frustration. I am not offended by your tears or your confusion. I command you to desperately remember my unfailing faithfulness in the deep valleys of your past. Look back over your life. Remember that exact moment 5 years ago when you thought you were completely ruined. You thought you would never survive that heartbreak. You thought you would never recover from that financial hit. Yet, here you are, still breathing, still standing. I pulled you through then, and I will absolutely pull you through now. You must violently focus your mind on my eternal promises when your temporary feelings completely betray the truth. Your feelings are loud, convincing liars. Anxiety tells you the worst-case scenario is a guaranteed fact. Depression tells you that your future is completely dark. I command you to stop believing your broken emotions and start believing my infallible word. I invite you to speak vibrant life directly over the dry, dead bones of your current, miserable situation. When your bank account looks dry, speak provision. When your body feels broken, speak healing. When your family feels permanently fractured, speak radical restoration. You must tightly hold on to the hem of my garment when the storm is at its absolute peak and the boat feels like it is sinking fast. It is easy to worship me when the sun is shining and the bills are paid. True, unbreakable faith is forged in the middle of the terrifying midnight storm. I want you to know with complete certainty that I am closest to you precisely when you feel the most completely alone. The silence you are currently experiencing is not my absence. It is my deep, focused work in the unseen realm. Keep walking through this dry wilderness. I am leading you directly to an overflowing oasis of unexplainable peace. As you step safely out of your dry, exhausting wilderness and into my unexplainable oasis of peace, I am giving you a powerful opportunity to carry that exact peace to others. I am calling you to become the very miracle someone else is desperately praying for in the dead center of their terrifying midnight storm. Every seed you plant into the broadcasting of this message is a drop of living water poured directly onto the parched tongues of those drowning in devastating doubt. Give generously today, and I absolutely promise it will be given back to you. Pressed down, shaken firmly together, and running entirely over into your lap. I will command the floodgates of heaven to violently open, protecting your family and multiplying your daily manna until your barns are completely overflowing. Heed this divine warning to act with intense, prophetic urgency, for this specific leading is a holy assignment orchestrated just for you. Support the rapid, global spread of my word right this second by clicking the Super Thanks button, joining as a member, or using the PayPal link hidden in the description. Do not close your eyes. Do not disconnect from my voice. It profoundly grieves my Holy Spirit when you stand on the very edge of your promised land and suddenly choose to retreat back into the wilderness of distraction. We are walking through your darkest doubts right now, but the dawn is about to violently break. I am pouring out my raw, unfiltered soul to yours right now. Do not silence me. Honor this sacred time. Stay entirely focused. The ultimate victory you are seeking desperately depends on the very next words I am about to speak directly into your spirit. You messed up today. I saw it. You lost your temper and yelled at someone you deeply love. You gave into the bad habit you swore you would never touch again. You let jealousy consume your thoughts, or you spoke words that cut someone else down to make yourself feel bigger. Now, a heavy, suffocating blanket of guilt is wrapped tightly around your chest. You are hiding from me. You are skipping your prayers because you feel entirely too dirty and too ashamed to look in my direction. You think you need to clean yourself up, punish yourself for a few days, and earn your way back into my good graces. I command you to stop this destructive, exhausting cycle right this very second. I invite you to wildly embrace the beautiful, restorative power of a heart that turns back to me quickly. You need to deeply understand that true repentance is not a terrifying punishment. It is a spectacular gift that instantly restores your spiritual sight. When you carry unconfessed mistakes, it is like walking around with mud smeared across your glasses. Everything looks dark, confusing, and distorted. Do not allow toxic shame to build a massive, impenetrable wall right where I eagerly desire to build a bridge. Shame is a vicious liar that tells you your mistake is your permanent identity. I am telling you that your mistake is simply a moment in time that my blood has already completely covered. I command you to fiercely experience the immediate, overwhelming refreshing that comes directly from a cleared conscience. You do not have to carry the agonizing weight of yesterday's failures into today's beautiful opportunities. I command you to violently move out of the isolating darkness of hidden sin and step boldly into my marvelous, healing light. Sin thrives in secrecy. It grows like a cancer when you refuse to talk about it. But the very second you bring it to me, the moment you simply say, "Father, I failed. I was wrong. Forgive me," the heavy chain is completely shattered. There is no probation period with my love. There is no waiting room for my grace. I invite you to loudly rejoice in the staggering, unmerited mercy that is brand new every single morning. I have already forgotten the sin you are still fiercely obsessing over. Forgive yourself. Drop the heavy stones of self-condemnation. Let me wash you completely clean right now, and let us start fresh, walking hand in hand, without a single trace of shame lingering between us. I want you to listen to me very closely, because your life can change in a single fraction of a second. You spend so much of your time living as if tomorrow is completely guaranteed. You fall into a comfortable, predictable routine, going to work, coming home, paying the bills, and going to sleep. You assume that your life will always look exactly the way it looks right now. But I am telling you today to live with the intense, electric expectancy that I could move at any given moment. I command you to wake up from the dangerous sleep of routine. I will interrupt your normal plans. I will suddenly open a door that has been bolted shut for 10 years, and I need you to be completely ready to walk through it without hesitation. You must keep your lamp fully trimmed and your oil of prayer overflowing. What does that mean for your daily life? It means you do not wait for a massive crisis to start talking to me. It means you keep our connection alive and burning brightly every single day. I command you to never be caught slumbering when I call your name. Imagine a sudden opportunity presenting itself at your job, but you are too emotionally exhausted and spiritually drained to accept it. Imagine a moment where a friend desperately needs your godly advice, but you have not opened my word in weeks, so you have nothing of real value to give them. I invite you to vigorously invest your specific talents and your precious time into things that hold massive, eternal value. Do not waste the brilliant gifts I placed inside of you on temporary, hollow goals. I will hold you accountable for the incredible potential I have poured into your life. You must be completely ready to give a clear, confident account for the powerful hope that lives within your chest. When people look at you, they should see a profound difference. They should wonder how you stay so incredibly calm when the economy is shaking and the world is panicking. I command you to walk with your bags spiritually packed, completely ready for my sudden lead. Packing your bags spiritually means you refuse to hold on to bitter grudges that weigh you down. It means you live with open hands, completely willing to let go of your perfect plans if I ask you to move in a totally different direction. I promise to lead you to breathtaking places, but you must stay light on your feet. Stay alert. Stay passionate. Keep your eyes firmly fixed on the horizon, because I am coming to do a new thing in your life, and it will happen faster than you can possibly imagine. I see how easily your emotions completely take over the steering wheel of your life. You get a passive-aggressive email from a coworker, and instantly, your heart starts racing with hot, defensive anger. Your spouse uses a slightly sharp tone of voice, and you immediately build a thick, icy wall to protect yourself. You look at a surprising bill in the mail, and blind panic completely paralyzes your thinking. I command you to radically temper your intense reactions with the deep, steady patience of my spirit. You are acting like a small boat violently tossed around by every single wave. I am calling you to become an unshakable anchor. I command you to never let your sudden anger or your paralyzing fear become the primary drivers of your ultimate destiny. You must heavily practice the difficult art of waiting on me before speaking in reckless haste. I know exactly how badly you want to fire back that angry text message. I know how deeply you want to defend your reputation when someone entirely misunderstands your intentions. I invite you to take a deep, slow breath and pause. Give me just 5 seconds of your time before you open your mouth. Guard your fragile heart with extreme violence, for out of it flow the most critical issues of your entire life. If you let bitterness take root in your heart today, it will completely poison your words, your attitude, and your relationships tomorrow. I want you to actively seek my eternal perspective when your temporary emotions feel totally overwhelming. I promise to give you profound, unshakable stability in my unchanging nature amidst your worst emotional storms. Your feelings are real, but your feelings are absolutely not reliable facts. You feel like a total failure today, but I declare that you are a highly favored conqueror. You feel entirely unlovable right now, but I declare that you are cherished beyond human comprehension. Do not make permanent, life-altering decisions based on temporary, fleeting moods. I invite you to step out of the chaotic whirlwind of your raw emotions and step into the calm, quiet center of my truth. I will give you the supernatural power to bite your tongue when you are angry, to remain completely peaceful when you are provoked, and to show stunning grace when others expect you to explode. Lean heavily on my emotional stability today, and watch how it radically transforms the atmosphere of your home and your workplace. You live in a culture that completely despises the very concept of absolute truth. You are surrounded every day by voices telling you that truth is whatever you want it to be, that morals are totally flexible, and that your personal feelings are the ultimate authority. I see the immense, crushing pressure you face at work and in your social circles to quietly blend in and compromise your core values. I command you to stand incredibly firm in my truth, even when the entire world loudly calls it hateful, bigoted, or hopelessly outdated. You cannot water down my word just to make other people feel comfortable in their destructive choices. I invite you to boldly speak with tremendous grace, but you must never, ever compromise the sheer integrity of what I have declared to be right and wrong. You must deeply recognize that truth without love is just a harsh, noisy weapon, but love without truth is a toxic, deadly lie. You cannot just hammer people over the head with harsh rules. You must look them directly in the eyes and love them deeply, but you cannot lie to them about the cliff they are sprinting toward. I command you to let your yes mean a solid, dependable yes, and let your no mean an absolute no. If you make a promise to your children, you must keep it. If you commit to a task at work, you must do it with total excellence. I urge you to violently reject the murky, confusing gray areas that slowly lead to devastating moral compromise. You think one small lie to save face at work does not matter, but it creates a tiny crack in the foundation of your entire character. I am calling you to be a blinding beacon of pure light in a very dark culture of relative morality. People are utterly exhausted by the fake, shallow nature of the world. They are desperately looking for someone who is completely authentic, deeply rooted, and radically honest. That is exactly who I have designed you to be. I promise to give you the exact words to say when you are backed into a corner and forced to defend your faith. I will give you the immense courage to do the right thing, even when doing the wrong thing would instantly make your life much easier and much more profitable. Do not bow down to the idols of cultural approval. Stand tall in my truth. Your unwavering integrity will become the most powerful, life-changing sermon you will ever preach to the people watching your life. I need to have a very honest conversation with you about the dangerous condition of your heart. You have lost your fire. You remember the early days when you first felt my love, don't you? You used to pray with intense passion. You used to read my word like a starving person finding a loaf of fresh bread. But now, you are just going through the dry, empty motions. You go to a church building out of sheer habit. You throw up a quick, memorized prayer before you fall asleep, and you treat our relationship like a boring chore on your endless to-do list. I must warn you. You must realize that standing totally still in your spiritual life is exactly the same as drifting dangerously backward. I command you to radically rejuvenate your burning passion for the very things that completely break my heart. You walk past the homeless man on the street without a second glance. You hear about marriages falling apart, and you just shrug your shoulders. Your heart has grown thick and calloused. I invite you to aggressively ask me for a fresh, consuming baptism of fire to completely burn away your comfortable indifference. I do not want you to be lukewarm. A lukewarm faith is absolutely useless in a freezing cold world. I want you to look at the broken people around you through the clear, tear-filled lens of my eternal compassion. I command you to aggressively stir up the brilliant, powerful gifts I have placed directly inside of you. You are acting like a high-performance sports car driving down the highway with the emergency brake completely pulled up. You have immense power inside of you, but your apathy is holding you back. I promise to completely shock your heart back to life if you simply invite me to do it. Stop making empty excuses for your spiritual laziness. You tell me you are too tired to pray, but I am telling you that you are tired exactly because you are not praying. Prayer is not a draining task. It is the vital oxygen your soul is currently suffocating without. I command you to violently avoid the deadly trap of casual, comfortable devotion. I want your whole heart, your whole mind, and your fierce, undivided loyalty. Step back into the burning fire of my presence today. Let me melt the thick ice around your emotions. Let me give you a massive, bleeding heart for your city, for your family, and for the lost. Wake up from this dangerous slumber, and let us change the world together. My beloved, now that I have violently shattered your spiritual apathy and ignited a massive, fresh fire in your soul, do not let the flame stop with you. I am inviting you to throw your precious oil directly onto this spreading fire to completely wake up a sleeping, lukewarm generation that desperately needs this warning. When you invest your hard-earned earthly treasure into this heavenly mission, you are actively sounding a loud alarm that rescues dying souls from the agonizing, permanent cost of their indifference. I declare over you today that exactly where your treasure is firmly planted, your passionate heart will fiercely follow, anchoring you safely to my eternal promises. Because you are choosing to boldly finance the rescue of broken people, I will aggressively defend your health, supernaturally multiply your income, and crown your daily efforts with spectacular success. Do not push this sudden prompting aside, because someone's eternal destiny is literally waiting on your immediate obedience. Fuel this massive awakening today by offering a super thanks, stepping up as a dedicated member, or donating through the PayPal link in the description. Are you still listening, my beloved? Because if you turn away now, you are actively choosing the very apathy I am desperately trying to rescue you from. It crushes my heart when I hand you a supernatural lifeline, and you let it casually slip through your fingers to go back to the meaningless noise of the world. Do not abandon this divine encounter. The fire is just now beginning to catch in your weary spirit. I implore you as your father, do not walk away from the altar while I am sending the fire. Hold your ground and listen to what I must tell you next. You are currently looking at a massive mountain of a problem, and your faith feels incredibly small and fragile right now. You just got a terrifying health diagnosis, or you just lost a major client at work, and you feel like your entire world is violently shaking. You wonder if your faith is actually strong enough to survive this massive earthquake. I command you to actively build your house directly upon the solid rock of my word so it easily withstands the coming flood. You cannot build a resilient faith during the middle of a catastrophic hurricane. You must exercise your faith muscles in the small, annoying trials today to prepare your spirit for the massive, life-altering battles of tomorrow. When you get a flat tire on the way to work, do not instantly lose your mind and curse the day you were born. Use that tiny frustration to practice unshakable peace. When someone rudely cuts you off in traffic, use it to forcefully practice rapid forgiveness. I command you to violently take every single toxic, terrifying thought completely captive and make it immediately obedient to Christ. The moment a fearful thought enters your brain, you must grab it by the throat and cast it out. Do not let fear build a comfortable nest in your mind. I invite you to strictly surround yourself with a powerful cloud of witnesses who aggressively sharpen you. If your closest friends constantly complain, gossip, and doubt my goodness, they are actively poisoning your faith. You must choose friends who will look you in the eye and forcefully remind you of my promises when you are too weak to remember them yourself. I command you to heavily feed your faith with my truth and watch your dark fears literally starve to death. You feed what you focus on. If you focus solely on the medical report or the bank statement, your fear will grow into a terrifying monster. If you focus entirely on my historical track record of impossible miracles, your faith will become an unstoppable giant. I promise you that I will never let your foot slip if you keep your eyes locked on me. I command you to stand your ground aggressively when the toxic culture pressures you to bow down in fear. You are absolutely not a victim of your current circumstances. You are a highly trained, deeply loved warrior in my kingdom. Plant your feet firmly on my promises today. Lift your chin. Square your shoulders. You are going to survive this storm, and you are going to walk out of it vastly stronger than you were when you walked in. You treat your days as if they are cheap, unlimited commodities. You wake up exhausted. You groan about having to go to work. You waste precious hours staring mindlessly at glowing screens, and you fall into bed feeling like you accomplished absolutely nothing of real value. I command you to drastically change how you view your existence. You must clearly recognize that your life, your time, and your very breath are incredibly expensive, sacred gifts directly from my hand. I did not give you this massive deposit of time just so you could survive until the weekend. I gave it to you so you could aggressively use your unique influence to point broken people toward my kingdom. I invite you to become a fiercely faithful manager of the incredible resources I have directly entrusted to your care. I see the crushing financial stress that keeps you awake at night. You are drowning in heavy debt because you are desperately trying to buy things to impress people you do not even like. I command you to stop this toxic, exhausting cycle of comparison. Start managing your money with intentional wisdom. I invite you to give generously to those who are hurting, knowing with absolute certainty that you can never outgive your Father. When you hold your money with an open hand, I will pour out blessings you do not have enough room to properly store. But your stewardship goes far beyond your bank account. I command you to aggressively treat your physical body as the holy temple where my spirit permanently resides. You are poisoning your body with chronic, unmanaged stress, terrible food, and a complete lack of sleep, and then you wonder why you feel too weak to fulfill your daily calling. I want you to heavily invest in your health, your mind, and your emotional stability today. Go to sleep earlier. Stop filling your stomach with garbage. Put the phone down and go outside to breathe the fresh air I created for you. I need you completely strong, incredibly sharp, and totally energized for the massive assignments I am putting on your schedule tomorrow. I invite you to live every single hour in a way that actively warrants the final declaration, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Do not waste another precious afternoon feeling sorry for yourself. Pick up the incredible tools I have given you. Multiply your talents. Serve your family with joy. Work at your job with absolute excellence. I promise that when you faithfully manage the small, boring things today, I will happily trust you with massive, world-changing authority tomorrow. I know exactly what terrifies you when you look closely at your family tree. You look at your parents and your grandparents, and you see a dark, heavy trail of brokenness. You see the bitter anger that completely destroyed your father's career. You see the crippling anxiety that kept your mother paralyzed in fear. You see the terrible cycle of divorce, the crushing grip of poverty, or the secret addictions that have violently held your bloodline in bondage for decades. I see the quiet, terrifying fear in your heart that you are permanently doomed to repeat their exact same mistakes. I am stepping into your living room right now to firmly tell you, it stops with you. I command you to boldly identify the specific, toxic cycles that have held your family in this miserable bondage. You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to name. I invite you to aggressively claim the total, absolute freedom that was bought entirely for you at the cross. You are not a helpless victim of your family's genetics, and you are not bound by the mistakes of your ancestors. I command you to powerfully speak my protective blood directly over your household, your children, and your future lineage today. When the familiar urge to scream in anger rises in your chest, I command you to shut your mouth and declare that generational anger dies today. When the familiar panic of poverty tries to make you hoard your money in fear, I command you to declare that generational lack ends with me. I am calling you to choose, with extreme violence against the darkness, to be the one single person who permanently stops the agonizing cycle of pain and sin in your family. I invite you to walk confidently in the brilliant newness of life as a joint heir with Christ. You are literally carrying a brand new spiritual DNA. You must build a massive, beautiful legacy of faith that will radically bless the generations that come after you. Your children are watching exactly how you handle this pressure. When you choose to forgive instead of holding a grudge, you are heavily rewriting their future. When you choose to pray instead of panic, you are actively laying down solid bricks for their future foundation. I promise to give you the superhuman strength required to break these heavy, rusty chains. You will not pass this trauma down to your babies. Step forward today as the powerful cycle breaker I design you to be, and watch how I radically heal your entire family line through your brave obedience. You are utterly exhausted because you have spent the last 5 years frantically trying to build your own tiny, fragile kingdom. You obsess over getting that specific promotion at work. You stress over buying the perfect house in the perfect neighborhood. You bend over backwards to get the loud applause and approval of secular people who do not care about your soul. And when you finally get the things you were chasing, you feel incredibly hollow, deeply anxious, and surprisingly empty. I command you to dramatically shift your entire focus. I command you to seek first my kingdom and my absolute righteousness above all other things. Your priorities are completely upside down, and that is exactly why your life feels incredibly chaotic. I invite you to actively align your personal, selfish desires with my grand, sovereign purposes. When you pray, you usually just hand me a long, demanding shopping list of things you want me to fix for your comfort. I command you to start praying for my perfect will to be fully done on earth, in your specific office, and in your living room, exactly as it is in heaven. I want you to urgently find your proper place in the body of Christ and serve with tremendous joy. You have isolated yourself. You sit in the back row. You do not talk to anyone, and you wonder why you feel so incredibly alone. You were built for deep, sacrificial community. You must find a place to pour out the specific gifts I placed inside of you. I need you to deeply understand that you are essentially a royal ambassador living temporarily in a totally foreign land. You are not supposed to perfectly fit in with the toxic, greedy culture of your workplace. You should look drastically different. I command you to let your daily lifestyle powerfully reflect the holy values of my celestial home. When your coworkers are brutally gossiping about the boss, you must remain completely silent or speak life. When the world panics over the stock market crashing, you must project absolute, unshakable peace. You are representing my throne to a world that is completely lost and terrified. I promise that when you stop stressing over your own temporary comfort and start heavily investing in my eternal kingdom, I will personally take care of every single one of your earthly needs. Align your heart with mine today and watch the crushing stress entirely evaporate. Now that your heart is powerfully and perfectly aligned with my supreme kingdom, I am asking you to physically align your finances with my eternal heartbeat. You have been sternly warned not to build your own fragile, temporary empire, but to invest fiercely into the permanent architecture of my grand, saving purposes. When you financially support the worldwide broadcasting of this divine message, you are actively throwing a heavy lifeline of truth to massive crowds suffocating under the chains of worldly deception. Seek first my kingdom through your radical, sudden generosity today, and I personally guarantee that every single earthly thing you need will be massively and miraculously added unto you. I will permanently break any generational curse of poverty over your life, pouring out a torrential rain of unimaginable favor and fierce protection over your entire household. Treat this internal pull as a holy, urgent mandate that simply cannot wait for tomorrow. Partner powerfully with me right this very second by using the Super Thanks feature, becoming a loyal member, or giving generously through the PayPal link down in the description. My precious one, we are drawing near to the most crucial, breathtaking revelation of all, and it would deeply wound my heart if you abandoned me in this final hour. Do you understand the massive, tragic cost of walking away right before the final seal is broken? I have fiercely guarded this specific pocket of time just for you. Do not insult my grace by treating this divine appointment as if it were just another casual video. Give me your absolute, undivided attention for these final moments. The destiny of your entire bloodline is actively shifting right now. Stay with me to the very end. You wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart violently pounding against your ribs. Your mind races through a terrifying list of what-ifs. What if the medical test comes back with bad news? What if they lay you off next week? What if your child makes a terrible mistake that ruins their life? I see you lying there, completely paralyzed, feeling like a massive, heavy elephant is sitting on your chest. I command you to listen to my voice right now. I have absolutely not given you this suffocating spirit of fear. This intense anxiety is not a personality trait. It is a direct, demonic attack aimed entirely at destroying your divine purpose. I invite you to violently replace those dark, anxious thoughts with the overwhelming power of my perfect, consuming love. I command you to walk boldly into the exact places where I have called you to go, even when your knees are physically shaking. Courage is not the complete absence of fear. It is choosing to aggressively step forward because you know I am walking with you. I want you to use the Word of God as a massive, sharp sword against your terrifying thoughts. You cannot fight supernatural fear with just human logic or deep breathing exercises. When the fear of bankruptcy hits your mind, You must open your mouth and loudly declare, "My God shall supply all my needs." When the fear of sickness attacks you, you must forcefully speak out, "By His stripes, I am totally healed." You must aggressively fight back. I want you to firmly trust that my massive, terrifying presence goes completely before you to clear the path and stands solidly behind you to fiercely guard your back. You are completely surrounded by my protection. You are terrified of the worst-case scenario, but I want you to rest in the absolute certainty that I personally hold the heavy keys to death and life. The enemy does not get the final say over your career, your health, or your children. I do. I am commanding the storm in your mind to completely cease right this very second. Breathe in my profound peace. Let the hot, toxic air of anxiety completely leave your lungs. I promise to carry you entirely through whatever obstacle you are facing tomorrow. You have absolutely nothing to fear because the Creator of the universe is permanently standing right by your side. My precious child, as you step confidently out into the chaos of the world carrying my perfect, unshakable rest, I deeply need you to shine that brilliant light into the terrifying darkness. I am inviting you to directly fund the greatest spiritual rescue mission in the universe by ensuring this urgent warning reaches the desperate, broken souls who have not yet heard my voice. Every financial seed you boldly sow today acts as a massive, heavy battering ram, violently tearing down the deceptive gates of hell and freeing fearful captives into my glorious grace. I declare that as you cheerfully and sacrificially give to this cause, I will command an astonishing multiplication of your resources, placing an impenetrable hedge of divine protection around absolutely everything you touch. This is your final, prophetic appointment for today. Do not let the enemy convince you to casually overlook this massive kingdom opportunity. The global harvest is staggering, but the desperate laborers require your active, immediate financial backing. Move forcefully in faith right now by giving a super thanks, joining as a dedicated member, or clicking the PayPal donation link in the video description. My beloved child, this divine warning is not meant to paralyze you with panic, but to powerfully propel you into your ultimate purpose. If you feel the fierce fire of this awakening burning in your chest today, do not let this sacred moment quietly slip away. Step boldly out of the shadows and declare your spiritual vigilance right now by typing these exact words in the comments below. I hear your warning, Lord, and my spirit is wide awake. When you make this powerful public declaration, you are permanently slamming the door on spiritual slumber and stepping firmly into the vibrant, unshakable light of my protection. Share this urgent message with another soul who desperately needs to wake up today and walk forward with unstoppable, world-changing confidence. Amen.